So, what's the old adage? Time heals all wounds. When does that start? When can we say, boy, you know what? I don't feel as bad about that loss to Denver yesterday because, like the old adage goes, time heals all wounds. Is that like a 24-hour period? Is that a 48-hour? When do we get there? 72 hours? Saturday, Monday? I'm telling you, no exaggeration, that loss will haunt me forever. I'll get over it. There will be other great moments for the Giants in the future, but that loss yesterday was just horrendous. And you know what's nice as well? That so many people take such enjoyment in my misery. See, I think you out there, people, need to do like a deep dive to who you are and what makes you tick. Because I love the Giants. I have a passion for something. And it feels like a lot of people, even people on this show, on my morning show, it really kind of feels like your passion is watching misery of me. And that feels like you should probably get into deep levels of therapy. We have a lot to do on the show today. I asked a couple of people to come on, and they all said no because they're concerned about what happens on the show. I said, please, a former NFL management, right? Please come on. Today would be a great day to have you on. I've seen what's going on with you. I've seen the way you're reacting. I've seen you having tantrums. I don't think it's good for any of us if I come on the show. I'm not gonna pummel you. I mean, I might have words with you. I might be frustrated by you, but I'm not gonna verbally attack you. Or maybe I will. I don't know. But I am just in some kind of an awful, awful mood. Yet again. And to make matters worse, tonight there's two Monday night games, so that'll go on until 1 o'clock in the morning, and we'll be working on like four, maybe if things work out well for me, 4.5 hours sleep heading into tomorrow's marathon day. So the Giants, and again, we recap it. They led this game 19-0. They led this game 26-8. They led this game 32-30, and they lost. And they lost. And I know, and you've heard the stats that 1,602 times a team led by that many points with 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter and blew it, and analytics and stats, and a team has never done. Yeah, no, I get it. It's every game. The Giants don't just lose. Think about their losses this year, right? So Washington, okay, fine. Washington, garden variety, normal loss. Then Dallas, which was a gut-wrenching, awful, embarrassing loss where you had it and you decided again to play a prevent defense. They hit the play, they kick the field goal. You have chances in overtime, and you punt it away, turn it over. Russell Wilson, clock strikes midnight. He turns into a pumpkin or whatever you want to say, and that's a loss. So the Dallas loss, brutal. The Saints loss, another one of these. Boy, in the last 5 million years, since man walked the earth, the team has not turned the ball over 5 consecutive times. Well, the Giants did that against the Saints. Again, they led 14-3. They managed to crap that away and lose that game. And then yesterday, another loss. So, welcome to where we are. They have 5 of them, and at least 3 of them are nothing short of horrendous. Chiefs was whatever, right? I mean, they didn't play well, but Russell Wilson was kind of nearing that. All right, we're done with this guy. Then they went to Jackson Dart. Now, I will tell you this, and there's not a lot of positivity today. Big picture. Look at the macro. You should be excited. You say, wait a minute. You're sitting here telling me that you're miserable, that you can't sleep, that you're popping Tylenol like they're M&Ms. What in the world are you talking about? Well, because I'm not an idiot. The quarterback's a stud. All right. So as bad as the kicker is, and I don't know if they left him in Denver, decided to bring him back, and then they said goodbye to him. You look at what they're deciding to do defensively, dropping into this 8-man coverage where Drew Phillips is facing in the wrong direction on that play to Mims for 30 yards. And then they got down the field in 2 plays. But the big picture, like take a step back and look at where this is and where this is going. The quarterback with Bellinger, Johnson, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt, and little Jordan Humphrey, the quarterback looks like an absolute stud. So you should be apoplectic over what happened yesterday. But just realize there is that glimmer in the future. This quarterback, right now he is, And I can't wait to see what he's going to look like when you're going to add the requisite pieces around him to show what he's able and capable to do. It could be really special. It could be really special. So we have the Fixins bar. We're going to bring you right up to the Fixins bar. We give you a full plate to just attack at the Fixins bar. Leave that up. I'll get to it in a second. I just want to let everyone know Mount Rushmore of Giants heartbreak, because why just dwell in yesterday's game? Let's revisit the Mount Rushmores of Giants, ripping victory from the jaws, right? Why not discuss that a little bit as well? So we'll do that. We'll revisit my picks, which I think are awful. The NFC East standings, and that was exciting. That you thought, God, they're going to be 3-4, a battle for first place with the Eagles, a chance to sweep them, and that gets ripped away pretty quickly. Karma 11. He says, unsure on Dable. Ownership cannot hire a permanent head coach for this team. We've had 4 head coaches in the last 10 years. If we're bringing a new coach, we're just setting this kid up for failure. Why? I mean, if you don't look at Brian Dable and think that he's the answer and that he's a good head coach, you have to make a change. You can't sit stagnant thinking to yourself, well, Brian Dable is fine. He's okay. He's passable. You tell me, have they had 2 of the worst losses you've seen? They led Dallas with 20 seconds left. They went up and down the field. They should have won that game. They lost that game. Yesterday was a game they had to win. So I get it. You're unsure on Dable. I think we're all unsure at best on Dable. But how in the world could you bring that back for another year, knowing what you know? Now, I will say this. I want to try to be better. And rather than be prisoner of the moment, I really want to try. And I don't know that I'll be able to do it. I want to attempt to take a step back, and not every week, Giants win, Dable's great, he stays, Giants lose, Dable stinks, he needs to go. I want to try to be better with that. Here's what this is for me. They're 2-5. There's 10 games remaining in this season. This is a job audition for Brian Dable is what this is. This is an audition. Let's see what you've got. You've got the quarterback you've wanted. He's looked good. But that being said, I mean, delay of game after delay of game yesterday is unacceptable. Watching the defense rush 3 guys in the biggest moment of the game, to me, is unacceptable. And I talked with Jordan Renan, Giants reporter, who comes on this show quite a bit, earlier today, and it was like, who's to blame? The fact that they're rushing 3 guys. And he said, I mean, Shane Bowen, but here's the thing. Brian Dable can get into the ear of Shane Bowen and say, no. We're not rushing 3. Send guys. That play that brought the Broncos from the 23 to the 47, and then you had the 5-yard penalty on the next play that didn't happen until later. The 3 guys on the field, Abdul Carter and Dexter Lawrence, were not on the field. How, in any way, is that okay? How, at a minimum, is it not Burns, Thibodeau, Lawrence, and Carter? At least 4. Am I right? Am I missing something? Because that, to me, makes absolutely no sense. We'll look at the offensive line. We'll get to your comments. So let me run through a little housekeeping here quickly. Become a YouTube member, and you will have access to the show that ordinarily you would not have. And we'll read your name on the air, which I think is a nice perk as well. So we've been through that. Do that. Friday is our Twitter Answer Questions Comments Friday. So go on our Twitter page at DRNYGO, and we will answer questions to the best of our ability. Follow us all over the place, okay? On social media, Instagram at DR Giants Obsession. Same with TikTok at DR Giants Obsession. Twitter, like I said, DRNYGO. Spotify, Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession. I'll leave that up. I'll get to it in a second. And just to let you know how, I guess my negative reaction or my craziness or whatever you want to call it is driving people to want to come here. We have gained close to 500 YouTube subscribers in the last 24 hours. And at the moment of this show starting, we're at 2,290, and the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. So thank you for all of that. Although I hate many of you for taking enjoyment in my misery. Karma 11. Antonio Pierce is a solid choice for defensive coordinator. Yeah, he's a solid choice for DC. I don't know how Shane Bowen makes it out of here. I really don't. And you're right. Antonio Pierce is a solid, and he's got Giants ties as well, right? And he's been a head coach in this league. All I'm saying is I'm not going to sit here after the Eagles game and say, they got to fire Dable. They got to do this. No, I'm going to wait. I imagine Dable's going to get another 10 games. I'll look at this as an audition, and then I'll revisit this when we get past week 17, what I think I should do. And if I don't do that, if I'm quick, I'm reactionary, I give you guys the right to boo me at a very loud level, to boo me. All right, so let's bring the guys in, and I didn't really want to talk to them because I don't really want to talk to anybody, but let's bring in Nico and let's bring in Steve. And now here's the thing, okay? Steve's a Jets fan. So you're suffering from tremendous misery, and your team is laughable, and they're 0-7. So I understand why you would be like, this is great, and content, and we're gaining followers, and where it's a rapid pace. Like I understand, but what I don't understand, Nico, is why you, who claims to be a Giants fan, is like, this is great, Dave. We started at 1,784, now we're at 2,290, and it's growing, and people are doing this, and look at the analytics. I don't understand why you're taking such enjoyment in what should be a miserable period in your life right now.
I think that it's a form of early onset depression, and that I'm masking the pain with something else. Truly, I think that's the way. I think that you yesterday yelling at me and Steve really, locked it in. I have to find some happiness in this world, and that's what I've chosen.
All right. I mean, if that, I mean, I mean, that's kind of sick and sadistic, right? That you're taking enjoyment. You're right there with me. It pains you tremendously to watch the Giants do this, but in some just bizarre world, you're like, oh, this is great because look, we've got 9 more followers that have joined during the show. Is that what you're about?
I mean, when we were sitting in the office watching the game, and obviously our EP Joe was sitting behind me, and I'm like, trying to hold
man, I don't know if Joe knows this, but you know what? Let's let the cat right out of the bag. They apparently, you were concerned for Joe's health, right? You said you were concerned that Joe was going to have a stroke during the end of the game.
His heart was palpitating at the thought of this game happening. He almost got up and walked out, in the last 1 minute in the game. As soon as Dart scored the touchdown, there was too much time. We looked at each other. Sadness. 40 seconds, 44 seconds.
I had to scream at Gary Myers today. Gary Myers, I mean, one of the great writers of our generation. I screamed at him today because he reached out to me and said, "Have you discussed the Giants scoring too quickly last night?" I'm like, "Are you out of your mind? Like, they got into the end zone with 37 seconds left. Now I'm supposed, what am I, God? Where I can be like, no, I want to get in with 1 second left." He's like, well, scoring on first down was really a mistake. Are you out of your mind? And this is a guy that's covered the NFL for 50 years. No, because you know what happens now? Giants, they don't score on first down. So now it's 2nd and goal at the 1. And then they take a false start penalty. And then it's like, oh, how could you have not scored intentionally on the first down? No, people are wild. What has to happen is you have to be able to keep a team outside of field goal range with 33 seconds by the time that kick was done. Not score on third down. That's lunacy is what it is. The
only thing that saves us from that moment, who cares if we score with that much time left? I agree with you, but when you're the first play coming back the other way and you're dropping 8 back and running 3, no Abdul Carter on the field, no Dexter Lawrence on the field. You're dropping 8 back. I mean, Brian Burns is walking to the locker room screaming. I mean, we have this from Jordan Renan. This video from Jordan Renan.
Yeah, we're screaming. Drop 3, right? Go ahead.
He said
you could play the video or no?
I can't play the video, but I can show you the video. I can show you the tweet. So Brian Burns was walking to the locker room, and he said, amongst other words, that we dropped 8. Not happy, and apparently he was in the locker room. He did not move for several minutes after, in a boot, by the way.
And the thing is, the guy plays like an absolute warrior. I mean, an absolute warrior. He's got 9 sacks on the year. He's got to be one of the top 5 players as far as defensive stars in this league are right now. And to let them down so much, and this kicker, this place kicker. I mean, how do you miss multiple extra points? They can't even play in a league where it's like, we did a video at the start of the season, right? I think it was me and Gary Myers, and it got tremendous traction. How easy it is to kick field goals in this league now, and how something needs to change. And yet the Giants are like, no. Here's the thing. we don't partake in that because the game's too easy. We don't want to take field goals and extra points. They have brought in a kicker that has, and I haven't heard yet, but I'm imagining he won't be with the organization for much longer, which is, I mean, goodbye. But what an absolute unmitigated disaster this has been. Just an absolute unmitigated disaster.
Absolutely.
So anything else from you guys? You want to say anything else?
Yeah, I mean, so we kind of want to talk about, I know Steve's hurting a little bit.
Yeah,
Steve,
I'm a little upset by you, Dave.
what happened?
What's the matter with you?
You were a little mean to me yesterday.
Who,
I didn't
I
even
was
do
mean
anything.
to you?
Yeah.
What did I do?
I sat here working hard for you, editing stuff, getting your stats, and you look at me and I didn't even say anything, just give you a nice smile, and then you just said bleep you.
That's right.
Full blown. And
Full blown.
even before that,
No reaction.
I went to go
Just
open the office. I went downstairs. I knew you were going to be upset. I was
What do you guys? What do you need? What do you need? Hand holding? You want me to plant kisses on your face? The Giants just lost one of the worst games in franchise history, and now your feelings are hurt.
My feelings
Oh,
were a little hurt.
you guys,
In
you're
front
a
of-
special brand of baby, is what you are.
In front of others,
Yeah.
I opened the door and you said, "Don't say a bleeping word to me." And I
That's
said,
right.
"Don't worry, I won't." And we
That's
sat
right.
in the elevator silent the entire
right.
way up.
I'll do it again. I mean, you guys, boy, you guys are amazing. You wearing your thongs today? I mean, really, this is the way you're gonna act? That you weren't. Dave wasn't nice to me. Well, what did you think? I was gonna walk in and give you a kiss on the mouth after the Giants just blew a
Maybe.
26-8 lead with 5 minutes to go in the game? In a completely heterosexual way, I think you're a very attractive looking guy. And you know what? I stand by that. I see nothing physically wrong with you. It's emotionally that I wonder what the hell is wrong with you right now.
What'd I do? I just looked at you. I didn't even say hi.
Because I knew what you were thinking.
Oh, he was
And-
smiling. He was.
you're
I
smiling.
defend you.
You know what? And your team's 0-7. I mean, who are you of all people to look at me with that look that you looked at me with? All right, do we have anybody commenting, questioning? I imagine there's a large chat room going on right now, right?
There is, yeah. So
Yeah.
we have one coming in from ML True Crime. Giants invent new ways to lose.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It really is. I mean, they're 2-5. You can't convince me for a second. If they just had finished games and not been an unmitigated disaster, they would be 5-2 right now. They would be. The Cowboys game had to be a win. The Saints game had to be a win. Yesterday's game had to be a win. That's 3 more wins. That's 5-2. 5-2. Instead, they're 2-5. And you talk about coaching. And again, I'm not doing it now. We'll wait till the end of the season. But when it's razor thin, right? I mean, listen, the Chiefs are very good. The Eagles are very good. The Lions are very good. But for the middle of the road teams, right, that like 10-20, it's razor thin. Look at the Cardinals. The Cardinals are 2-5. Look at the way they lose games. They lost to the Titans, which might be the worst loss I've ever seen in my life. They lost to the Packers yesterday by 4. Like, they lose games because they don't make one play here or one play there. And now they're 2-5 because of it. And you know what? So are the Giants, because you're not talented enough to get along on talent. You're not talented enough to continue to make the same mistakes and the same faux pas over and over and over. And it bit you in the ass, and it will continue to if you don't clean up your act. What else do you have?
We have one coming in from Josh B at something or hashtag something. They started the game playing hard to win when they started playing preventative not to lose. At least you have some sense of hope. My Jets just stuck.
Your Jets suck. And there's no two ways about it. The Jets offensively, it looks like Fred Flintstone should play quarterback for the Jets right now, is how archaic it looks. Yeah, I don't know that the Giants got complacent or conservative more than just completely worn down and gassed. Like, you watch that game, and the Broncos were able to run plays that earlier in the game would have amounted to nothing. But because I really believe this, I'm not making excuses, because the Giants had nothing in the tank defensively left and they were physically exhausted, they couldn't stop. The touchdown that gave them the lead before Dart led the Giants on that almost game-winning drive, when Nix went around left end and had a blocker and took it to the house, he wasn't touched. He took it in 20 yards. That play would have never succeeded. And the Giants defense was, for 3 quarters, was playing at an elite level. Really. They were playing at a very high level, and they were hitting hard, and they were physical, and they were tackling, and they were making the hits, and then you get to that fourth quarter, and it just all went to crap.
That
it all absolutely went to
I
crap.
think the perfect, two plays to look at is that like when we stop Cortland Sutton in the red zone on fourth down, that hard tackle to stop him, and then you completely do a 180 to Deontay Banks looking back into absolutely nowhere, wide open catches, Tyler
Right.
Newbin
So
wide
here's
open
the
catches.
here's the problem. And I'm trying to figure out how to say this somewhat kindly. Deontay Banks stinks. Okay, he is a bad football player, which is bad for him. It's bad for the Giants, and it's a bad look for Joe Shane. It's the 24th or 25th pick in the draft, and he's unplayable. And I think something that hasn't gotten a lot of conversation is Paulson Adebo went out and couldn't play, and in his stead, Deontay Banks comes running in, and he's just, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be mean. This is not a personal attack on him. He's just not very good at football right now. So that's bad. And when you don't have a Debo now, Flop becomes your number one, and you're relying on Deontay Banks to make plays, and he just can't. Well, you see the result. You see exactly what happens. I'm very curious, and we'll get to this as we get a little bit later in the week. I'm very curious to see what the Giants come out with on Sunday, because that was a massive gut punch. And you had beaten Philly, and then you were on the verge of winning this game yesterday. And I think you'd be absolutely ecstatic. I mean, through the roof ecstatic. And now you lose that game. And now you're 2-5. And not that they were going to the playoffs. And I sat here and screamed at you guys on Friday, stop talking about the playoffs. It's unrealistic. It's not going to happen. And I was right. And I knew I was right. But the bottom line is, this is intriguing to me, because it kind of feels like some of the players on that defense are, sick and tired of the Shane Bowen, Brian Dable continued faltering. And I'm interested to see what level of intensity / desperation / bringing your A game they bring to the table. So I think this Sunday to me will be a real sign of what the Giants are kind of made of, I guess I would say.
There is some rumors flying around right now, nothing confirmed yet about Shane Bowen. And, there's some people on the inside saying that we have a couple hours left with him. But I'll keep you updated. I'll keep refreshing my feed and seeing what's going on.
Wow, that would be unbelievable. Now, I said this last night. When the Giants lost that miracle at the Meadowlands, and thankfully you guys were not born for that, which was brutal. It was Pisarcik turns around, hands the ball to Larry Zonka. He fumbles at Herm Edwards. This is 1978. Herm Edwards picks it up, takes it back for a touchdown. Giants lose that game. Next day, fired the offensive coordinator. So this idea that, well, you can't really fire a guy off of one, but why can't you? I mean, that was egregious. And you have players screaming on their way into the locker room. And then you have Dable verbally berating the defensive coordinator. Well, you're the one, and you're the CEO, right? If there's something I don't like on the show, I'm going to come out. I'm going to tell you guys, it's not okay. I can't just destroy you for it. It ultimately, it falls on me. It all falls on Dable. Now, Bowen is going to take the wrath now, because they're not going to fire the head coach, but it really is somewhat unfair, because ultimately this does fall right at the feet of Brian Dable. What else you got? You got anything else for me?
Yes. I mean, you just mentioned it. Brendan G said, Nico, now that you're here, do you see them winning 9 games? No, I don't. No, I don't.
How old are you?
Me?
Yeah.
22.
22. Why did you have to think about that? Why was it real thought that went into how old you are?
Hard question.
Yeah. Do you know your birthday or no?
Yes.
Okay. When's your birthday?
September 25th, 2003.
Oh, so we just crossed that threshold for you to be 22.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's wonderful for you. All right. So you're 22. Have I seen more life than you?
Yes.
Have I experienced and witnessed the Giants more than you?
Yeah.
Do you look at me as kind of a savvy older man now? I'm in my 50s. Someone that you kind of look at, you're like, he gets it. He maybe not for everything. Maybe you wouldn't take life advice from me with everything, but with the Giants, do you not look at me as someone that I've been through the warfare and the struggles, the ups and the downs of this team? I've watched every game of this team since 1978, right? It's fair to say that I'm a real hard and true fan of this team.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw it on your face last night.
And you came in here and you're 9 wins. And I sat here and I told you, Nico, be better than this.
I'm delusional. I'm delusional.
But there's a difference between delusional and stupid, and that is a very gray area.
I'm delusionally stupid.
I mean, that's like if Steve sat here and said he thinks the Jets are going to win 6 games this year. That would be dumb, and I have to call him out on it.
I'll be pissed if they do.
Well, I don't think you have. I don't think you have.
You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
I
you're
don't
safe. I think you're
I'm trying to go
safe with us.
2 max is the goal.
I don't know how that
I
happens.
don't want to.
When I looked at the Jets' schedule yesterday, was one of the games I looked at. I'm like, okay, that could definitively be a win. Jets haven't scored a touchdown in weeks.
And everyone said it was a trap game to bet on.
I don't know
They're
why
idiots.
I'm laughing.
I slammed the Panthers. Slammed them.
Hang on a second.
Yeah, see, he's just not a real
Slammed them.
fan at all.
Slammed
Hang on
them.
a second. You're a Jets fan,
Yeah, sadly.
and you bet money on the
Well,
Panthers.
so I'm in a pool, a fantasy pool. So we pick every Sunday game and we rank them and how many points we get. And I put it was 16 was the highest, and I put my 16 confident 16 on the Panthers. Obviously,
The only way I would
you might be a good
obviously.
gambler. You're a terrible Jets fan.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine
A terrible
because
Jets.
I'm
Rothenberg's Jets obsession, right? You can turn somewhere else for that. So, Nico, what else? We got anything else?
Yeah. I got one more left from Jim Mack. Let's throw that up.
By the way, can I be honest with you right now? Your reading has gotten much better in the
I'm
last.
slowing
couple
down.
weeks. Yeah, it's really a
I'm
noticeable.
trying over
difference.
here. I don't want to lose
I
my
don't know if
spot
you're taking some kind of a reading course or anything like that.
in
By the
between
way,
shows.
Steve, the text is right over your face, so it's in a perfect spot.
Perfect
right?
spot.
No, it was in a perfect spot when it kind of covered you. All right, Nico, you want to read this one?
What about the game clock pausing at 9 seconds for the kicker to have enough time to set up for and kick the game-winning field goal? No timeouts and a delay of game would be 10-second runoff and a W, 32-30. Didn't they?
I don't
Didn't
know
they
what
stop
you're
the clock?
talking about. No,
And I know Steve brought this up
they
before the
didn't
show.
stop the clock.
yeah, I saw something on Twitter like that. Same thing.
They didn't stop the
Like-
clock. The Broncos rushed up. They spiked the ball with 3 seconds left, and they kicked the field goal. I had no issue with that. I'm not going to be one of these people that's going to sit here, and I get
That's
that
the
why you
last
would
thing
do
we
it.
should worry about. Is
I'm not
that
going to sit here and play this game of we got screwed here and this happened negatively and we should have gotten that. No, the Giants had every opportunity to win this game. The Giants were crushing the Broncos, and they gagged this thing away. So stop with that. All right, I'll bring you guys back in. By the way, comments, questions, open, get involved. On YouTube, you like us, subscribe to us. We continue to gain followers and traction, and that's very exciting. Instagram, TikTok at DR Giants Obsession, Twitter at DRNYGO, Spotify, Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession. All right, so 3/4 of phenomenal football is what you saw yesterday. 3/4 of phenomenal football, and then in the fourth quarter, they scored 33 points. They put up 33 points. Who would even think that a team would possess the football enough to put up 33 points in one quarter? They had 200 yards of offense in the fourth quarter alone, and the Giants defense had done such a phenomenal job up to that point that you have to think that probably the altitude and the sheer exhaustion, but that's no excuse. And I was talking to Jordan Renan this morning. He's like, there's a lot of people out there that say that Brian Daboll runs a country club training camp, and what would you think would not be great? Finishing games, playing the full 60. And it's not the first time you've seen it. I mean, I've never been more aware, I guess would be the proper phrase, that a team can't close out a game because they're just going to get in their own way more than this Giants team. It's incredible. It really is. Now, I do want to look at a little bit of the positive, and you say, what's the positive? All right. So defensively, we talk about, I think Thibodeau was out of spots in a little bit last night, but for the most part played very well. Abdul Carter, it's starting to click with him. He's going to be a very, very good player, if not better. Dexter Lawrence, I'm a little underwhelmed with at the moment. But Brian Burns is, again, guys, just playing at an insane level. He really is. You could argue that he is up for Defensive Player of the Year right now. That's how great he's playing. So those are positives. Cam Scatterbo continues to impress. That screen pass was impressive. There's a run that it looked like he was going to pick up 3 yards, and he shifted and moved and wound up picking up 9 yards. Wan'Dale Robinson, I think, is kind of coming to his own. And clearly now, is he a number one? No. Is he the Giants' number one? Yes, he is. And he made one catch early in the game where Dart was rolling to his right and threw it kind of across his body, middle of the field. He leapt up. He made the catch. He picked up a first down. It was a beautiful play. So there are some positives to focus on. And then there's the one that you'd be foolish if you weren't discussing, and that's Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart, guys, and I know, and I've gotten emails about this. Well, that was an awful pass that he made in the fourth quarter. Okay. Rank the best defenses in football for me. Is Denver not one, even if you don't look at them as the best defense, is Denver not one of the best defenses in all of football? Without a doubt, right? They're one of the best. Jackson Dart, with a no-name cast of characters, goes into Denver and puts up 32 points, really what should have been 35 points. And you're going to sit here and you're going to complain about the one bad throw he made. And I'm not defending it. It was a bad throw. Right? I mean, they faked the blitz. When the 40 was Stranad, drops into coverage. He picks him off. It was awful. I'm not defending the throw. But if you're going to go into Denver and say that he did so many things well and had one misstep, I mean, you would have taken that. They put up 32 points. The Giants moved the ball effectively and efficiently. And not only that, but on top of everything, the Giants led, 26 to, 26-23? Well, I can't even remember now. Denver scores a touchdown and goes up, 30-26. So the Giants led 26-23, right? Then Denver scores to make it 30-26. The Giants hadn't moved the football. The Giants had just been picked off 2 drives earlier, and you felt sick to your stomach that they had no chance. This kid completes a 4th and 19 for a first down, identifies a matchup where he throws not even a Hail Mary, an alley-oop. You get the pass interference. He takes it in from the 2. If the Giants don't crap all over themselves, do you know what we're talking about today? We're talking about a kid who led you on a game-winning drive on the road in maybe the toughest place to play against maybe the toughest defense in the league. So you could sit here and you can, from high heavens, discuss all the negative, right? And there's a ton of things to discuss that are negative from that game. And I am as upset as anybody that walks the earth about what I saw yesterday. But let's not lose sight of the fact that this kid lit you up if you're Denver, right? Had 4 touchdowns yesterday and led the Giants on what should have been a game-winning drive. And he's hitting Bellinger, right? I mean, and he's running in a touchdown. Like, he's playing at a very high level, a very high level. So I don't want to hear any of this crap of how, well, you didn't do this well or had this bad, but he had a bad pass. He's a rookie. I mean, let me ask you this. When Patrick Mahomes played the Jaguars a couple of weeks back on that Monday night, and they were at the 3-yard line going in for a touchdown, do you remember what happened? He got picked off, returned for a touchdown, right? It happens. It happens to Patrick Mahomes. It happens to Dak Prescott, usually in the postseason, but it happens to Dak Prescott. It happens to Jordan Love. It happens to the best of them. So you want to take this kid's body of work from yesterday and you want to crap on it because he had one bad read and one bad throw? Have at it. It was a bad play. I'm not arguing that it wasn't a bad play. He's going to be it's 4 games in. I'll sit here right now and I'll tell you he's going to be a very, very good quarterback. Does it mean there won't be growing pains? Of course there's going to be growing pains. Of course there's going to be growing pains. There should be. It'd be weird if there weren't. Remember Eli Manning? I mean, we continue to discuss it. Eli Manning at the infancy stage of his career was awful. Eli Manning at the beginning stages of his career was literally unplayable and had a QBR of a 0 one game and went 1-6 down the stretch of 2004. So it's not comparable. And I'm not saying he's going to be Eli Manning, but I heard this, and I think this is very, very interesting. And I don't know who heard this, but I want to bring this to your attention. Ian O'Connor, wonderful, right? Great writer, best-selling author. Just he's terrific. He sat down at some point, I don't know, after the draft, before the season with Jackson Dart, and said, if I offered you right here, Eli Manning's career, where you're probably going to be a Hall of Famer. In fact, you'll be a Hall of Famer, and you're going to win the Super Bowl twice and be the MVP of both of those Super Bowls. You can have that right now. We'll deliver it on a silver platter. You take it? I don't want it. I don't know that I'll do more, but I think I might be able to. I don't want it. And I thought, to me, that was, wow, this kid, he's got big ones, man. Big ones. And there were a lot of people that were screaming from the rooftops, start him game 1. And I was not one of those. Let's slowly bring him in. He's got it. You can sit here and you can say no. You can deny, you could say he's a product of whatever. No, you're wrong. He's got it. Whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but he's got it. So a lot of negativity. There is some positivity as well. And another thing I quickly wanted to get into, and that's the offensive line. This offensive line, okay, couple things. Andrew Thomas is a star. All right, we've had the conversation of what piece of the Giants offense would you miss the most if he went out? And a lot of people would say, oh, Nate, you can't lose Neighbors. It can't be Neighbors. You can't lose Neighbors. It's not Neighbors. It's Andrew Thomas. He's playing left tackle as if he's the number one tackle in the NFL. And quite frankly, he just might be. Nobody gets by him. Nobody. He's a phenomenal elite left tackle. And the rest of the offensive line. And I think part of it is the byproduct that Jackson Dart is able to buy time and is able to be mobile in the pocket and does things. If this was Russell Wilson, we would not be sitting here saying, boy, that offensive line looks really good, right? Jermaine Illuminor looks good. And Schlotman that played yesterday, or Schlotman, or however you say his name, oh boy, filling in for John Michael Schmitz, he looks pretty good. We wouldn't be saying that if the quarterback wasn't able to move. So it's a combination of the line is playing well and the quarterback is so mobile that it gives you a tremendous advantage over what is clearly the number one sack team in the NFL, and it's not even close. So yeah, I mean, Tyrone Tracy had a big hole on that touchdown that he took it to the house. There's reason for optimism. Today might not be that day, but there is reason for optimism with many of the things surrounding the Giants. My picks, there's not a lot of reason for optimism with my picks right now. Guys, throw up the picks. Here's what I think you do. All right. I mean, I'm 0-2 this week. I'm 7-13. I'm losing my house and my home and everything. It's falling apart. I have the Lions -5.5. Bet everything you have on the Bucks, right? You get the Bucks +5.5, knowing that I am in on the Lions. I mean, what could be better for you? So we're 7-13. If we can somehow find a way the Lions to win, we go to 8-13. Getting back to 500 is not going to be any easy chore this season. So I'm a little bit embarrassed, but I mean, why should I be more embarrassed than the kicker? Right? I mean, if anyone should be embarrassed, it should be Bowen. It should be the kicker, not me. I'm not a professional gambler. This is not what I do for career. I'm a talk show host. I'm an entertainer. That's what I do. I could stand up and I could sing and I can dance. That's what I do. I'm not a gambling expert. You leave that to the Jimmy the Greeks of the world, not to me. Take my advice, and if you're going to take my advice, go the other way. Think about that. If you just took my picks and went the other way, you'd be 13-7. You'd be living pretty right now. All right, so picks not good. Comments. Nico, Steve, do we have more comments? We wanted to make this a very interactive show. I'm thinking that more people are wanting to get involved. Question: before you get to your comments, why last time you guys popped on, Nico, you were on top and Steve was on the bottom? And now, Nico, you're on the bottom and Steve's on the top. What is that about?
I have no idea. If I'm being honest, I
like it this way.
Yeah, you like it that way because half your head is covered.
Yeah, and you have a tremendous forehead. I mean, I don't want to be the one to point that out, but you have.
It's the camera.
Yeah, sure. Right, it's camera.
The other day, I remember Dave, while we were trying to record some content often, Dave said that we fight like a married couple.
Oh, definitely. And I'm frozen now. So now I look like something's wrong.
You're good on our screen. Don't worry.
Okay,
it's that computer.
All right. So you guys do fight like a married couple. I'm in here with Joe post-show, and we're sitting there discussing ideas. We would do this. And you hear you guys like, we never owned a Plymouth. Right? Like, it was, no. The kids, they should go to private school. It was ridiculous. Questions, comments. What else do we have rolling in?
Yeah, Jim Mack wants to actually update his thing. He was talking about the play clock, not the game clock. So there was apparently, which Steve, talked to me about, is that they ran out of time on the play clock. It should have been a delay game. I don't think it matters. They would have just hit the field goal again anyways, even if they got the 5 yards.
Yeah, well, the clock was stopped.
They're talking about the play clock. So they ran out of time on the play clock.
They ran out of time on the play clock, but the clock was stopped on that play, correct?
Yes.
Right. So if the clock was rolling, it would be a 10-second runoff, and then it would be conversation.
It would be game
having. You saw it last night in the Falcons and the Niners at the end of the first half. Penix threw the ball, running clock. There was 10 seconds left. They called it an intentional grounding, and because the clock was active and running, there's a 10-second runoff.
So it'd be game.
And the first half ran out. They couldn't kick a field goal. But if the clock was dead and they took too much time. Yes, so the Giants got screwed out of 5 yards. He would have taken a 43-yard, 42-yard field goal and still would have
But
made it. So
maybe
it
it's
would've
my
made a
lack of
difference.
concentration or my lack of care, I guess, at that moment because I knew it was over.
I didn't even see.
I didn't even see it, and I don't think any of the announcers even called it out.
No.
Usually they
Yeah.
do, but
Not at all.
I didn't see it, and quite frankly, I don't think it matters all that much.
Yeah.
So it's not a big deal.
all right. So we have another one from EW24. Identifying talent is a skill, and it just seems to be something that lacks in the Giants building. Starting from the owners on down, it seems to be lack of identifying talent for winning.
Well, I don't know how you say it's the owners that don't identify talent. I mean, the owners aren't picking the players. You want to say that you don't like what Joe Shane has done and that he leaves a lot to be desired. I think that's fair conversation. But I'm not going to sit here and blame it on the owners. Now, maybe the owners don't hire the right people who need to eventually identify the talent. I think that's fair. Yeah, I mean, Dave Gettleman was a buffoon. The Giants hired Dave Gettleman because they were comfortable with Dave Gettleman. See that, and that's what's so upsetting and worrisome to me. And then they moved away from Dave Gettleman and they went with Joe Shane, who they had really no affiliation with whatsoever, which you feel like, hey, at least they're hiring someone that's out of their comfort zone. You hope if they were to move on from any member of this regime, it's not going to be like, well, we're moving on from Brian Dable and or Joe Shane, but we're bringing in the new era Dave Gettleman. That would be an absolute disaster. I mean, if you have someone in-house that you look at and say is an elite talent evaluator or coach, fine. But if that person does not exist, then you need to go out to the outside and find that person from whatever team you have to pick them from, right? Well, look at there's new coaches every single year. So you have to be aggressive and you have to be smart and you can't fall for this, well, I know him or I have a relationship with him. Like Ben Johnson clearly is a good offensive mind. And my thought, and again, as negative as today is, and it's just an awful day to be a Giants fan, but as negative as you are and as angry and as upset and all these things that you are, this is going to be a job that guys want if this job opens up. I mean, you're going to have a quarterback who looks like he's going to be a star in this league. You're going to have a top 10 pick. You're going to have some elite players on the defensive side of the football. You have an elite wide receiver, right? So they're not far. They're not. I'm not saying they're going to win 9 games like some lunatic would say this year, but they are right now not far off. I'm not saying they're there, but they are in that they're not top 10 and they're probably not bottom 10 either right now. So if you get a break and you hire the right pieces to make the right decisions, things go quickly, especially if you have the quarterback. And it does look like right now they do have the quarterback. What other comments, questions do you have right now?
Haywood Wong says, okay, Dave, if you get a new GM, do you grab from San Francisco or Kansas City to pair with Kingsbury?
I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and start to give you names or ideas because I haven't really looked at it or thought about it. Cliff Kingsbury is interesting. Kingsbury has done really good things with Jaden Daniels, and he's kind of a quarterback whisperer, so that's attractive.
That's what we said about Brian Dable.
But there's a difference. Being an offensive coordinator and being really good as on that side of the ball is one thing. Being a head coach and thinking you could do it is a completely different animal. So I don't know. I don't want to sit here and be reactionary every week and sit here and tell you got to do this, you got to do that, move on from this, go to San Francisco, go to Kansas City. I mean, listen, Steve Spagnuolo, maybe the best defensive coordinator in the NFL, right? I mean, he won with the Giants, he wins with the Chiefs, he finds your weakness, he picks you. Norv Turner, a name you children have probably never heard of before. You never heard of Norv Turner. You guys are so I mean, it's unbelievable.
Lion Bay. Who's that?
What?
In Lion Bay.
Norv Turner was a great offensive mind with the Cowboys. Great. Norv Turner was handed the head coaching reins in the NFL and stunk. Could not do it. Norv Turner wound up back as an offensive coordinator and was excellent. Some guys are coordinators. Some guys can be head coaches. Bill Belichick was a great coordinator who turned himself into a great head coach as well. But it's not so simple that great coordinator equals great head coach. So I think you have to take all of that with a grain of salt. What else do you have?
I have one more comment that completely stunned me because I have a huge opinion on this guy. But
All right.
Luis Marson says hire Dan Orlovsky or Louis Riddick as GM.
No, I'm not doing that.
That's it's awful.
I wouldn't say awful. I'm not higher. Okay, first of all, Louis Riddick joins my radio show every week. I know Louis. I've hosted radio shows with him. He's a very, very bright guy. I'm not handing the reins here to someone that's never been a GM in this league. Dan Orlovsky has never worked as any kind of a talent evaluator or anything in this league. So
I think Dan Orlovsky, I was referring to Dan Orlovsky more. I don't want a absolutely garbage QB who now sits there and critiques good QBs.
That's ignorant of you.
No,
I'm being serious. I think that's ignorant
his opinion on QBs are absurd.
Well, that's different. But
yeah.
don't sit here and take his playing career into account. I mean, I can give you 30 guys who were not good players in their sport in baseball or football or basketball, and they turn into elite GMs or coaches. So not everyone is John Lynch, where you're a Hall of Fame player and a Hall of Fame GM. So I think this idea that you look at him and say he wasn't a good NFL quarterback, he was an NFL quarterback, for God's sake.
Yeah, he was. And that embarrassing play with the Lions when he backed up into the end zone.
But come on, Nico, are you better than this? Really, this is not a.
It's more of his opinion of how he was and how he is now. When
if he sits here and tells you that he loves players that fail in the league, then that's something to criticize and to go after. But don't go after a guy because he wasn't an elite quarterback in this league. He was a quarterback in this league, and I think he's got a lot of smart opinions on the game.
Sometimes I think that he goes a little bit overboard when he talks about QB play. I understand.
Well, that being said, I actually agree with you. I'm not hiring a guy that has no experience. I'm not hiring a guy to hand over the keys to the franchise that has never run. He's never been a coach, never been an assistant GM, never been a GM, nothing. No, there is no way that I would do that. All right, is that it as far as questions and comments? We'll come back to you guys because today's very interactive. One more time late in the show. By the way, if you'd like to become a YouTube subscriber, you can do that. We have our list of people here. And the reason that kind of rings true right now is Luis Marcon, who just asked that question. Marcon, we're uncertain. He is a YouTube subscriber, and he threw that question, and I wanted to give him a little bit of love right there. So let's go to the Fixins bar, and maybe they won't have me doing like demolition this week at the Fixins bar. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like a chef at the Fixins bar, right? Like what kind of what I'm like? I'm like, what the hibachi when they're flipping shrimp up into the air? That's what I'm like. I'm not a demolition expert out on wearing a hard hat out on the construction site. That's not me. All right, what do we need to fix? They have to finish games. You have to. You can't lead games late stages, final seconds, and every time find a way to lose these games. It's unacceptable. It has to change, and it has to change quickly. So that's first and foremost. You have to finish games. Place kicking. It's comical. It's comical what they've done with Graham Gano. It's comical how twice now this guy has gotten hurt and has been incapable of kicking in a game where you now haven't had a kicker. It's two separate times. One last year against Washington and once this year as well. It's really unbelievable that a professional organization would two separate times have a kicker that gets hurt during the game or during warmups that cannot kick. That being said, I get that happens. The fact that you turn to this kid, and I can't say his name, I'm not going to even try, to be the backup kicker, and you have as much confidence in him kicking as you seemingly do me kicking. I mean, extra points become overly difficult for him. A 37-yard straight on extra point, and he missed the first one wide left, and he missed the second one wide right. And not only that, on top of all of that, when certain teams like the Broncos or the Cowboys or the Packers, or you fill in the blank, they get to the 37-yard line of the other team, you start thinking to yourself, oh, they're in field goal range. Not this kid. This kid is brutal. I don't understand for the life of me how every other team around the NFL has a kicker that you're like, boy, this guy, 52, no problem. No worry. He's going to make it. Pinheiro, right? Whatever his name is on the Niners, Pinheiro, he's good. Jake Moody hits his kicks now, right? The backup kicker on the Packers is competent. Harrison Butker for the most part. I mean, you name him. Tyler Bass. Tyler Bass is out. They bring in Matt Prater. How is it that every single team, Brandon Aubrey, has a kicker that when they get to the 40 can make a 57-yard field goal, and the Giants don't have a kicker that can make an extra point? And it's not an isolated incident. He's missed 3 extra points in the last 2 weeks. Got to be fixed. And third is coaching. You say, what do you need to see different coaching-wise? This is the second time this year that this defensive head coach, defensive coach have found ways to rip victory out of this team. They won that game in Dallas. They won that game yesterday. And because they're rushing 3, I mean, if I said to you, what do the Giants do well defensively? What is the strength of the Giants defensively? What would you say it is? It's that their front 4 is really good. So it's Carter, it's Lawrence, it's Burns, and it's Thibodeau. Of those 4 guys, one of them was on the field on that second to last play. How in the world is that okay? Dropping 8, rushing 3? No, never is that okay. All right, so that's what has to be fixed, those 3 things. NFC East standings, where are we at the moment? Now, we know the Giants play the Eagles in Philadelphia next week. Boy, we had a real chance. The standings are wrong, by the way, guys. The Giants are 2-5. They're not 2-4. We had a real chance if we have the Giants at 3-4, and next week they had a chance to sweep the Eagles, go to 4-4, and be within striking distance of this division. I don't think it would have mattered, but now we'll never know. So the Eagles win yesterday. They beat the Vikings. They go to 5-2. The Cowboys, they dismantle Washington, and they take out Jaden Daniels. They go to 3-1, and their offense is clicking as well as any team. You got Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Ferguson, Javonte Williams, Dak, very high level. That is an offense that is absolutely loaded right now. Oh, they fixed. Look at that. These guys are so talented. The Commanders, they're in big trouble. All right, they're 3-4. They lost that game to the Bears. Short week. They lose again yesterday. And if you look at their upcoming schedule, it is very difficult. That's not a team that looks like they're heading to the postseason. And that's last year after going to the NFC Championship game, and it looks like they may be on the outside looking in this season, and then bringing up the rear again, the New York Giants. But it doesn't feel like the gap from first to last is as big as it's been. And as bitter of a day as this is today, it feels like the gap is, dare I say it, closing a little bit. All right, let's go to you'll love this. So when you're miserable, you want to add another layer of misery to who you are and what you are. And the Giants lose yesterday after leading 19-0 and 26-8 and 32-30, and they lost the lead each and every time, right? Well, we got to thinking, or I guess I should say, I got to thinking, what are the worst losses we've ever experienced with the Giants? And you probably think to yourself, is yesterday going to be on it? Well, let's find out, guys. Give me the first one. Okay. So that game to the Eagles, similar to yesterday, as a matter of fact, Giants led 31-10 home to the Eagles. Michael Vick, the quarterback of Philadelphia, and it's 31-17, and it's 31-24, and it's 31-31, and all the Giants need to go is move down into field goal range, kick a field goal, win it 34-31. They get stopped. They kick the football away. And if you remember, Tom Coughlin told Matt Dodge, I don't care where it goes, do not kick near Deshaun Jackson. He kicks it to Deshaun Jackson. He takes it back to the house. Giants lose 38-31, and I don't believe Matt Dodge has been heard from since. So that goes on the Mount Rushmore. That's one. Next up on the Mount Rushmore of pain. This was awful. 2003. January 2003. Kerry Collins leading the Giants. They go to San Francisco, playoff game. They lead 38-14. Okay? San Francisco, Jeff Garcia led, comes all the way back. 38-21, 38-28, 38. Giants wind up falling behind 39-38. But alas, there's hope. And the Giants, they drive down the field, and they get in field goal range. And there's a bad snap, and they hoist the ball down to the goal line. And there's a wide open receiver, and he gets tackled, and they call nothing, absolutely nothing. And that's the way the game ends. They would have lost the next week to Tampa Bay. They would have gotten humiliated because the Tampa was by far the best team that year. And then you get the wonderful memo from the NFL on Monday. We missed the call. It should have been a pass interference. Whoops. We're sorry. So those two games worse than yesterday. Throw up the next one. All right, Super Bowl 35 is one of the absolute worst moments of my life because I traveled down to that game. I was at the game 2 weeks earlier. Giants beat the Vikings 41-0, and it's as euphoric a feeling as you've seen at Giant Stadium in the history. And then 2 weeks later, I'm down in Tampa. I'm there. I think I'm the first person in the stadium. I sit there just watching the crowd slowly pour in to the stadium, and then I watch the Giants lose 34-7 to get absolutely humiliated. And then they couldn't name Ray Lewis MVP because he was involved in that whole murder mystery from the year before. So it was just dreadful. The Giants lose that game 34-7. And that to me might be one of the lowlights for the Giants in the history of the franchise. And then lastly and finally, we bring up this one. And I don't know if you remember this. I think it was 97. Danny Cannell's quarterback of the New York Giants, and they're home against the Vikings. Now, I'm dating a girl at the time, and we're in Florida on a Saturday, about to go to her cousin's wedding on Saturday night. Apparently, there's a beautiful place in like Miami called Vizcaya, and that's where the wedding is going to be. So I make sure that we're at the hotel that I can watch the Giants game at 12:30. And the Giants, they're winning the game, and they're going to win the game. And the game is over, and Minnesota scores a touchdown to cut it to a 2-point deficit. But their only hope is that they recover the onside kick, which they won't do because that doesn't happen. Giants recover the onside kick. They win it, take a knee. That's it. Well, they do. They get it. Randall Cunningham, quarterback for the Vikings, leads them into field goal range. They kick the field goal. The Giants lose. I turn to my date, my girlfriend at the time, said, I can't go to this wedding. I can't go. She said, if you don't go to this wedding, I will never talk to you again. I said, fair, fine. I went to the wedding. I didn't say a word the entire night. She said, dance? You won't dance with me? I just sat there miserable the entire night. So yesterday was bad. Yesterday was painful. Yesterday made you feel sick. But there are other worse moments in the history of Giants football. All right, Nico, Steve, you got anything else before we put a bow on this one and say goodbye to everybody today?
Yeah, we have a couple ones from our great friend in London, the Moloko Velocet.
Oh, this is my favorite. I don't know who he is or what he is, but the Moloko Velocet has to be one of the great handles going. You want to read it, or is that too much?
I got it. Fourth quarter defense was an abomination. Do you think this is coaching, play calls, etc.? Super Bowl is a goner. I don't know where you ever thought that. Over player performance, conditioning, lack of execution, etc. Hey Jude is also a goner.
Yeah, he's gone. I think this is a conditioning. I think this is a coaching. I think this is a confluence of everything bad happening all at once. I mean, there's probably 50 plays where if one of them had worked in, not 50, there's probably 10 plays where if one of them goes in the Giants' favor, that's it. Game is over, and we don't have to discuss this today. We're talking about, boy, the Giants held on and found a way to win. But because he got picked off, or because they couldn't stop them, or because, they run that play down the middle, or because they run the next play and they get it down into easy makeable field goal range. Like there's so many, or because he missed Wan'Dale Robinson when he was running a fly pattern on the second to last series of the game. Like there's so many. Look at that one play. If it goes in a different direction, we're probably talking about something different, but that's not what happened. And give Denver credit. They had a massive comeback. They punched the Giants in the face. And there was nothing they could do about it in the end. Anything else? Anybody else want to chime in? That's it?
That's it.
All right. Well, we will do this again on Wednesday. We'll break it all down. We'll start to hopefully get over the pain and the heartache and just the vitriol that we dealt with from yesterday on Wednesday. On Friday, we'll then look ahead to Philadelphia. And Sunday, we'll do it all over again. It's a rinse and repeat is what we do. Today sucks. Today's a tough day to be a Giants fan. But I will look at you and say this. Things will get better. This may be a lost season. They may go nowhere this season. This may be a 4 or 5 win team. This will get better. Like us, subscribe. We're on YouTube. We're here for you. Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession. Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Spotify, Become a member of YouTube. So many different ways to entertain what we do. Be back Wednesday, 1 o'clock Eastern. Dave Rothenberg's, can we call it Dave Rothenberg's miserable Giants obsession? So if you like that live stream, check out this video or the other live streams. And of course, don't forget to subscribe.